seat, light it up, let's unwind. Kevin and Kerr bringing topics of all kinds, from cigars to sports, family and more. Everyday stories you'll want to explore. So take a puff or ponder away. Join the talk, it's the highlight of your day. Puff and ponder where the sparks ignite, conversations blazing day or night. Tune in now, let the stories take flight. It's the Puff and Ponder podcast, where we get it right. From fast cars to last night's game, family laughs or today's big name. We've got the topics, we've got the vibe. Stay tuned in and enjoy the ride. So lean back, relax, take a break. Kevin and Kerr got the chat you'll appreciate. Puff and Ponder, the show that's great, where conversations ignite. Don't hesitate.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Puff and Ponder podcast, where conversations ignite. Kerr, I've got one more song I'd like to play.
Please do.
So
I'm gonna be surprised what song this could be.
Present, or they keep changing stuff here. So state of Michigan, the whole state of Michigan. We don't give a damn for the whole state of Michigan. We're from Ohio. We're from Ohio. O-H. We're from Ohio. I-O. We don't give a damn for the whole state of Michigan. The whole state of Michigan. Whole state of Michigan. We don't give a damn for the whole state of Michigan. We're from Ohio.
You know, there's one thing when you were saying, hey, what's up with the lights there, Clark?
Yeah.
Like, all I can think of is, hey, Clark, they're not twinkling. Thanks for noticing, Art.
Yeah.
There's one thing I can count on, Kevin, is that you are you're a sore loser and you're a sore winner. You are. Because the last 5 years or 4 years, what have you, that we've been betting on this game, and Michigan has won. I have not rubbed it in. I have not sung the song because you don't want to upset the sensitive genius. But you finally win. Oh my goodness gracious!
Finally win. We won 8 years in a row. There are 2 graduating classes that never saw.
Game.
What's that?
You're only as good as your last game, and you guys won. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's what everybody starts. That's why I hate when Michigan fans are like, well, it's the last 5 years. And I'm like, guys, you're only as good as your last game. So I don't want to hear it. You lost. The guy was juggling the ball into the end zone, which was really a big tide turner for Ohio State. It was. He did. Everybody was surprised that didn't get turned around. Everybody on the announcers. And trust me, the announcers were very Ohio State friendly. But as our coach, Mike Drass, God rest his soul, would say, don't leave the game close enough to where you're going to put it in the hands of the referee.
Yeah.
Don't. And listen, whether or not that was the big catalyst that got, Ohio State in the run, Michigan just sucked in the second half. They just did.
They came out strong. They just couldn't convert them third downs.
Well,
they just couldn't. What are you lighting up, Kerr? I need another cigar here.
I'm smoking a Maduro from the Edition 35 deconstructed Edition 35. This is the Maduro, and then this is also the Connecticut right here together. I'm Maduro.
I'm just finishing up the Viva La Vida Connecticut.
Can you hear me, Vox John?
And then,
I saw you smoking that earlier, right?
Yeah, great cigar. So yeah. And then I'm gonna light up here the Herrera Esteli.
Jen won this from the Wolfpack Club. Sir Passion.
What is Sir Passion? What? Yeah, I'm not
I don't know. It's made at the Tabacalera La Isla.
Isn't that who's that? Who's Tabacalera La Isla?
I can't remember. I know I should know that.
Is that Tabacalera La Isla?
But good look at cigars.
Yeah. Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah,
I like that box.
Yeah, real nice box. Real good flavor too. Yeah, Jen. We'll pack. But yeah, I gotta look that up now. It's gonna bother.
Yeah, it's in the so it's in the Dominican, and let's see. Let's see. Let's see who.
We don't give a damn about the whole state of Michigan. The whole state
because we're from Ohio. Oh, so that's Hostos. So Hostos left as part of the Quesada family.
There you go.
Yeah. So Hostos opened up his own factory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're from Ohio. And you gotta spell it too, because y'all don't. You need help spelling.
Yeah. O-H. We're from Ohio. I-O. So.
But yeah, congratulations. The Ohio State Buckeyes did win. Again, I do not. It was a rough couple of days. I ain't gonna lie. Fucking Eagles lost Friday night against the Bears. Yes, Jennifer, better known. The Eagles lost to the Bears. The Eagles look terrible. Ohio. This is 3 days of mourning for me. The Michigan lost on Saturday to Ohio State. And then the Rams lost to the Carolina Panthers yesterday.
Yeah, to the Panthers.
The Panthers are playing good football. I ain't gonna lie.
I know, but
Stafford threw like 2 interceptions in the first half.
Yeah.
It was a rough couple of days. Thank God I'm not some psycho freaking super fan or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I would have been going ballistic this weekend. I freaking
burning your whole house down.
Rutgers freaking snatches defeat from the jaws of victory against Penn State.
I know.
Game.
I watched the recap of a few minutes of that game. Man, that was like a good game too.
Good. I caught most of the second half. It was real good. When I turned on the TV, I was like, I chuckled myself. I was like, freaking here's Rutgers and no Penn State. I was like, oh, Rutgers winning. And they look good. The quarterback moving the ball, freaking pumped, fucking lost control of the ball. Penn State recovers, scores touchdown. That's game.
That's it. Yeah, that was the Buckeye Land from Crown Heads. That was actually named after John Hubert's wife, because she's from Lancaster, Ohio, same town as I am, and General William Tecumseh Sherman. So yeah, they haven't made the Buckeye Land in a hot minute. That was a good cigar. The Tennessee Waltz was really popular. That was a great cigar. I think they've done that more times than anything. I think they did the Texas, the Yellow Rose of Texas a few times, but the Tennessee, I don't know if they're getting ready to redo all the cigars, because I just got the press where I posted the press release that they redid the box and the bands. And they actually put, I think, bands on the Tennessee now instead of just the colored, the colored foot bands
or ribbon.
So the ribbons.
So, that's a really, really good cigar. And I'm looking forward to more of it. Yummy.
That's it. So I got to share my screen. I got to give away this prize pack here.
You do that. You do that, Kevin, because I'm it was not overly crazy upsets this weekend, but definitely some decent football this weekend. Texas A&M lost.
Papa Loose. I know Texas A&M.
Yeah, they lost in Texas. Handedly.
Yeah, it's I don't think anything's going to get shaken up as far as the standings go. I think it's going to be
A&M might. I mean, I could see them dropping because
You're gonna drop the two spots at the most. But,
well, I mean, you got below them, you got Georgia, Texas Tech, Oregon, and Ole Miss, all with one loss. So, I mean, there's a good possibility because you know how this ranking group loves them some Georgia. You know, so I can see them dropping below Georgia and maybe Texas Tech too. That would be a freaking slap in the face, right?
That's it. Yeah, Derek, price pack. Make sure you're following Cigar Prop on Instagram. Nobody gives away, and nobody in the cigar industry gives away more stuff than me. Follow us, Cigar Prop on Instagram. I just posted a post about Races Cubanas. We're giving away a pack of theirs. So, you found some at the local B&M. Oh my God, so jealous.
What's that?
But some of the Buckeye lands. Those gotta be old. So
yeah,
but yeah, so I don't expect too much of a shakeup. So last week we picked a winner for the Marvero Humidor, and the first person was from Canada. I reached out to them. You know, I reached out. I'm like, listen, you know, I allotted like $60 towards shipping of this thing, so I'm paying for the shipping. Marvero has nothing to do with that. So I'm like, I'll credit $60, but the rest of the shipping and everything's up to you and any import fees. Never got back to him. Ghosted me. So I contacted the second winner, and they got back to me right away. Lives in Dayton, Ohio. From Indianapolis. So he's I don't know who he's gonna be rooting for, but he's got a hell of a game next week to watch.
He's gonna be rooting for,
I'm assuming
Indiana.
Yeah,
that's gonna be a decent game, man.
I think it's gonna be a real close game. I'm not as nervous as the Michigan game, only because, like I said, it's just Michigan. But Indy's gonna put up a fight. But either way, I think Indy's in. You know the championship. So either one of us loses, we're both still in. It's just going to be who's getting a bye or not.
Yeah, that's going to be the biggie. I mean, and also with this portal, who's going to get a first round draft pick? We pretty much have resorted to that in the college ranks when you think about it. So,
yeah, I don't know. And then they're saying that whatever quarterback wins the game is getting the Heisman. So I don't know. It's been coming down to these two. That guy Pavi from the quarterback from that little guy from Vanderbilt. I was kind of rooting for him, but he's been kind of a dick this weekend. You know, if you saw him like in his interviews, you know, he's like, yeah, they need to be thinking about me. I'm going to New York. I'll be on that. So, you know, like I'm like, no, I think they're going to see you say that, and then you're not even going to be in the running now. Like, to be that arrogant, like, I deserve the Heisman. It's mine. You know, you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I don't know, man. I think some of these guys with their attitudes, you know, it's getting worse and worse. But, you know, it was always this coveted, you know, trophy that, you know, everybody was striving for. And now, you know, everybody's got an attitude about things. And most of the guys do. You know, I understand you got to have confidence, but there's a big difference between being confident and being a dick, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna be like, listen, dude, you're too short to play in the NFL anyways. Your career is going nowhere. You know, he can't be 6 foot tall. He can't be 5'10". So I don't know. Unless he trades position, he's not going to be an NFL quarterback. I guarantee that.
Yeah, you never know.
So yeah, you never know. Yeah, when's the last time you've seen an NFL quarterback under 6 feet tall? Lately, when's the last time you've seen one under like 6'7"? Like, God, they're monsters now. Doug Flutie. Pat
Hayden played for the Rams. He was a short one too. No, I mean, it was. I mean, I don't know about the rankings. There'll be a little bit of movement, not much. You know, Michigan's going to be going to the Citrus Bowl. most likely. Um, so they'll probably end up playing Texas. I read that. You know, Citrus Bowl, they get first pick, and that they want big names. It's like who gives a shit? They're 9-3. It's fucking Texas and Michigan.
Oh, it'll be
Bowl
packed,
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't want in-state teams either, because they want people to travel, so they want the hotels, they want everything else. So I've been to the Citrus Bowl. It's a great game. But, Michigan and Texas, God, it'll be, like I said, it'll be packed, absolutely packed.
Of course. I mean, it's college football. It's a bowl game, and it is very much an opportunity. Like you said, it's post game playoff. You get to travel the whole 9 yards. So I mean, shit. It makes sense to me.
Where are they playing this week? Where's Ohio State, Indiana playing this week? I didn't even bother to look that.
I don't know. Let me check on that. Jennifer and I were talking about that last night.
I forgot to look.
Yeah. Oh wait, hold on. It's just a recap of their season. Let's see here. Let's walk through memory lane of the number 1 ranked Ohio State Buckeyes. Where do you want to start, Kev? You want to start with Rutgers, Purdue, maybe Minnesota? Now, you guys, there's some tough games here. Ohio, Minnesota.
And the one thing that and there are some easy wins, but we never know. Like that some of these games are booked out years in advance, like they're locked in. It's so you never know what team is. Like I said, we had Penn State, Texas. We had 2 powerhouse teams that we were supposed to play against and lose against, and it's like that for every team. You never know. You never know what Wisconsin team is going to show up, or what Nebraska team. One year they dominate, the next year they're not.
You got that right. Where's Lucas Oil Stadium?
I think Lucas Oil Stadium's Indiana, isn't it?
I'm showing here Indiana Hoosiers at Ohio State Buckeyes, and it says venue Lucas Oil Stadium. So that's not making sense to me.
Yeah, Indianapolis. Yeah,
Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah,
home of the Colts. So they're playing there. They're playing at the Lucas Oil Stadium, and looks like Ohio State's going to be the home team.
Okay. So, and luckily it's like a 8:00 game, so it'll be a nice. I don't have to rush home from work like I did last week. I just left a Jeep sitting there. I told them, I said, I got a hard 1:00. Hard 1:00. I walked out of there at 1:01.
That's great.
I'd barely looked at this Jeep that was having some issues. I'm like, it's got an exhaust leak. We can't do it. Ship it somewhere else. And then I told the kid, I go, hey, do the inspection on that. Just write down exhaust leak. Go somewhere else. And then I left. Didn't tell anybody I was leaving other than the kid. And I bounced. So yeah. Oh, speaking of kids, so and I told you in the bullies chat, one of the neighbor kids came up wearing like a fake cat. He said it was a cast, but it was like just one of those I don't know. He's a kid. It was just one of those ace bandages wrapped around his arm from his elbow to his shoulder. And then like his sister's like, hey, can you sign what's his name's cast? And I'm like, and it was like during the Ohio State game, during the fucking game. So I'm like, I get the doorbell ring, 2 little kids out front. I'm like, if someone's trying to sell me some cookies, I'm about to kick them off my lawn. And so I go out there. So yeah, he handed me a Sharpie and I'm like, whatever. So I scribbled my name on it, and then I'm like, all right, I got to get back. And then as I'm walking back, I realized I signed a cigar prop on the on there on his little cast. Because then later on, Jessica's like, I thought you said he's wearing a cast. He's out front. No cast on. No ace bandage. But then I saw him tonight as I was checking my mail, and there's like 6 kids out front, all of them like between 5 and 7, I don't know. And one of them's like, hi Kevin, and I'm like, hey. And then I was like, hi Kevin, hi Kevin, hi Kevin, hi Kevin. And I'm like, hey, how's it going? It's No,
Who's
and
who's asking for your autograph? Just a random neighbor kid?
yeah, just the kid lives across the street. Wanted my name on his cast.
Oh, okay. As long as it's cast. I mean,
Well, his fake cast. He like wrapped a bandage around his arm and called it his cast. So I don't know.
I didn't know what you were talking. Okay.
Yeah. So but yeah, it was usually it's Mr. Like now when I was a kid, it aggravated my parents. I called everybody by their first name, no matter who they were. But for the most part, you always like Mr. Kevin or Mr. Carey.
Yeah.
But yeah, to hear them like, hey Kevin, I'm like, hey, what's up? it's
you've crossed over into you're one of them now. You're part of that little crew.
Yeah. Yeah, I do not want to be part of that. Good thing I got Ring cameras. So
hey Kevin.
Yeah. What's up,
How about
Chillins?
ASU? Yeah. This I was gonna say, I wanted to mention that this weekend was filled with rivalry weekend.
It was.
I mean, everybody. I mean, everything from UCLA to USC. University of South Carolina played Clemson.
Yeah. Got the Iron Bowl.
What was that?
Auburn and Alabama.
Auburn, Alabama. You had Ohio State. Not Ohio State. Arizona State.
Yeah, Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech. Arizona State. I mean, it was a lot. A lot. It was big rivalry weekend. And it was some like I said, some good games. I mean, I guess I don't know. Penn State Rutgers. That's not much of a rivalry there.
There were a lot of Friday night games though, and because it was I was checking the scores like Saturday, and it's during the game, and I'm like, what? How many people played yesterday? That was weird. So it seemed like there was quite a more than normal games being played on Friday night.
It wasn't an upset, but Vanderbilt. I mean, they stomped on Tennessee. I mean, when was the last time Vandy?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Vandy's on a roll.
Oh my God, yeah, they're on a mission. They're 14th. You may see them move up a little bit. And Arizona beat Arizona State.
What about their is it Vandy's coaches leaving for LSU? Did that get announced on Sunday? I forgot to look. Yeah. Let's see. Because it was expected. Let's see.
It says it's a new day for Vanderbilt. Football coach Clark Leah contract extension.
Is that the
It's Vanderbilt.
Was that so? Ago. Which coach was leaving to go to LSU? Maybe it wasn't.
Where was
Lane Kiffin.
Yep.
Oh, Lane Kiffin was introduced at new head coach, and so that was a big that was a little big little controversy on College Game Day or college recap on Sunday because he was expected to go to LSU, and some people were saying that he should be allowed to continue coaching, throughout the until he takes on the new role next year. So and then people are like, no, I mean, if he's going to choose a new team, he should resign right away. Then there was talk that I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? If should he be allowed to finish even if he wanted to? If he was bailing on the team, should he be allowed to finish the season with his team?
I think in the world of contract negotiations, it's a little bit it's supposed to be a little bit different in college sports, but it's when it comes to coaches, it's not. When it comes to the world of negotiations and contracts, if they didn't do a good enough job to keep him there, and he's found more money, a better opportunity elsewhere, then he can go. I think he is still obligated to fulfill his contract to the end of the season and coach his team. I don't think he should resign. I think that you have a commitment. I think the team's probably going to be upset about it, but he's like, hey, listen, you know, if they really wanted him there, they would have put up the money. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And but would you, as a head of the athletic director, would you want him, or would you say get out?
I think what you need to do is you got to think of the impact on the team right now, and you have to show some class and let him finish it out. And it's the right thing to do, you know. And I'm sure there'd be people who would argue the other side of the fence, which is fine. But I think, you know, doing the right thing and let him finish out the season with his team and doing it proper is the right thing to do. You know.
Yeah, I think I agree with one of the guys on a college game day recap. It should be up to the team. Yeah, it should be up to the players. The players should just
stupid. No.
They're the ones playing under him.
Yeah, but they're not paying the check. They're not signed. They didn't sign the contract. You know, they are players. Yeah, they're there to play for the coach. And if he's leaving, then they play until he leaves. You don't let the freaking loons in charge of the asylum.
I'd fire him. I'd let him. I'd like, you're not allowed back on property. You want to announce it during, you know, if you want to, you know, first of all, there should be no contract negotiations during the regular season.
I agree with that.
You know, that they should have to, you know, isn't baseball and football like that? NFL and you know, I don't know about hockey or anything else, but you know, there are strict rules on who you can talk to and who you can't during season. But I tell them to get the fuck out. So,
well, listen, man, you know, that's the thing. Is you have a situation where that's the rules. You know, I agree with you 100%. I agree that they should not be allowed to have any contract negotiations during the season. Yeah. You shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah.
Or if you do, you can't make any announcements until after the season is completed. You know.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think it's not right at all to make the announcement, you know, during the season. I think it's classless. But I also know that is the way that the rules are right now. So you're unfortunately, it's the byproduct of the rules.
Yeah, I could see if you got fired, maybe that's something like, okay, you know, now you're a free agent, you can talk to whoever you want, you know, so maybe that's, you know, a way around it, but yeah, just to leave, and you know, which I don't understand. I mean, it must be, you know, obviously LSU, you know, probably paying him a pretty good penny. I had heard like neighborhoods of like $100 million contract, you know, over whatever, you know. So
yeah.
You know,
I mean, these guys are making ridiculous money. I mean, that's what we talked about, all these programs that try and protect, you know, like Penn State and other programs that, you know, try and protect their program. It makes a lot of fucking money, man. It's a big money maker.
Yeah, it definitely is. And then these college coaches are now getting paid as much, if not more, in certain situations than NFL coaches.
And you can understand why. You know, when you got college football, man, you got donors. I mean, you like with pro football, you have fans. You have fans. You have merchandise. You still have that in college too, but you have fans paying money, et cetera, et cetera. In college, it is just donors. You know, you have all those folks who are alumni, who went to school, who donate. You know, whether it's $20 or tons and tons.
Or
and tons of money.
we do. I mean, I donate to the Ohio State Athletics Alumni Club for scholarships, and I think, you know, like I said, your fan base is broader. You know, it's why you can make more money. You know, because when you leave college, I mean, you go all across the country. You know, it's you never know. I mean, you've seen it. They like they'll go for a bowl game. You know, on the, you know, Ohio State will go out to the Rose Bowl in California, and you'll see half the stadium, you know, of Buckeye fans, and it's just, or Michigan or whoever fans, you know, just they're just spread far and wide. So you got more people spending money on merchandise and swag and everything else. So It's definitely a money machine, and they don't have to pay the players. So
No,
they don't have one guy making $30 million a year.
Yep. No, 100%. I mean, that's the thing. It's they bring in all that money, and realistically, their overhead is low.
Yeah.
Except for your coaching staff, and um, it's it's. I hate seeing what it's turned into, but I do prefer watching college football over pro. I mean, there's some good pro games on this weekend. And I'll watch them, but college football still is the best. I'm excited about Michigan though. They got a young team, really super young. The quarterback is an 18-year-old true freshman, so he's playing in the biggest game ever as an 18-year-old. Last year he's playing high school.
Yeah.
And within 12 months, he's playing in front of how many fans that stadium hold? Michigan.
The big house is the most 110, I think.
110,000 fans against the biggest rival. You could say one of the biggest rivals in the country. The number one ranked freaking Ohio State Buckeyes, and you're playing that game.
That they say that's not just the number one college football game. Like that's the number one rivalry in sports. Now I don't, I don't like say I'm not, I don't know on the hockey world, but like in basketball, football, or NFL, NBA, I don't know of any other rivalry that like everybody talks about. Like
that's
even like you saw it on Facebook. I mean, there were fans like neither one. Everybody had their opinion, and so.
No, I mean it's a huge rivalry, and not in basketball because Michigan just dominates.
Yeah.
Or hockey, they dominate. But it is one of the biggest rivalries, if not the biggest in the country. And when I see comments going, "Oh, the quarterback, man, he's just overrated. He choked." I'm like, listen, dude, he's playing in front of 110,000 fans at 18 years old. At 18 years old, you probably couldn't even run a 40-yard dash in front of freaking 100 people without shitting your pants. This kid's out there freaking, playing in one of the biggest games, like you said, in the country. You didn't get any help from his line, but I can tell you, it's not that easy. There's a lot of pressure there, and it's not a small 500 person stadium, man. It's definitely.
Oh yeah, and nobody does high school like Texas does. I mean, you got Texas high school kids playing in $100 million, $250 million stadiums for high school.
For real, man.
That's it. Did you see the one town or county or whatever it is in Ohio, high school allowing NIL contracts for high school football players?
What's that?
An NIL contract for high school football players in Ohio for one region.
See, it's you're gonna have millionaire. I mean, again. I said this before. I said it again. You are really taking away the student athlete. You're removing the student from student athlete at this point.
Yeah, you're right. And especially on the high school side, you're going to have a lot of parents making these decisions for their kids.
Sad.
And these kids just high schools. I mean, we got our next town over, Venice High School. It's one of the top ranked high school football programs in the state of Florida. You got people that move from all over Florida, into the area just to play at that high school.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always controversy going, around that. But
everybody has that. I mean, we have it in my hometown. I mean, Kerry Collins is from Lebanon, Pennsylvania. He played at Lebanon High. Doesn't get a lot of look-see there from scouts in small town Lebanon. Some falling out and stuff. His dad moves him up to Reading, Pennsylvania. He plays at a high school that's known for their football and gets recruited by Penn State and goes to the pros. Has a pretty damn good career, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it happens all over. It's like you said, there are some areas where it's known for it. They're shipping kids from out of state into some of these areas to attend these high schools, and that's you get what you get with this NIL. Money.
It's gonna
Terrible.
trickle down. It only took one high school, and it'll trickle down, and it'll just be I don't know. It's gonna be now parents are the dads that never could play, and they'll be demanding money, and it'll just be I don't know what it'll be, where it's gonna go, but it's not good. It
Nope.
definitely not good.
Nope, I didn't like it. I didn't like it in college, and I could tell you, them it leaking down into the high school is going to be.
Yeah,
You're going to see these kids not graduating high school. You're going to see these kids probably not. I mean, especially when I don't know what kind of money they're going to be making, but if it's even close what these guys are making in college, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's what's going on? I don't know where it's going to go. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, I always believe the players should have been compensated something, maybe not as they're playing, maybe something, because the schools are making, you're talking about, maybe some of these guys are getting, say $100,000, $150,000 scholarship, but when these teams are selling their name, image, likeness to for jerseys, for video games, for everything else that are making tens of millions of dollars on these kids, I think there maybe should always have been in kind of a fund, for when that student graduates college, if he didn't make it to the NFL, maybe he's got, $1 million, that they'll like, hey, this is from your college career. If you don't make it in the NFL, at least there's a good start on your career, take your degree and, make something of yourself. But
That's crazy. Yeah, they said I was reading an article. I just pulled up an article here. It said California became the first state to allow high school athletes to profit from their names and image and likeness.
Oh, is it California? Okay, so Ohio must have been the second then. So yeah, so it's already.
Well, hey, it's California. Was it taxable? Is that why you guys did it?
Yeah.
They're talking about this girl on here, Juju Watson. She was she had a deal with Nike back in high school in 2022.
Wow.
And her brand just grew. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to sound like some grumpy old man, be like, it all started back when they start letting pro athletes in the Olympics,
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. But, I don't know where it's going to go. It's only going to get worse. It's in 4 or 5 years, college and the college football will just be the farm league of, it won't even be college. It'll just be the NFL farm league, just an offshoot. And that's the way it's going to be.
It'll be what the what was the European football? Remember that?
Yeah.
The NFL had their European league.
Yeah.
It'll just be a more successful version of that.
Oh, okay, Boomer.
So, I do feel like Boomer. I'm not rumbling, stumbling, fumbling.
Yeah. He meant Boomer as in the age bracket.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant Boomer.
Yeah.
Like I sounded like freaking
Yeah.
Chris Berman.
Yeah, no.
Bye, Sakahima. Bye, Sakahima. Yes, I am. I'm not a baby boomer there, jackass. I'm Generation X. I'm a very angry Generation Xer. That's what I am. I'm full-fledged 1970, right there.
That's it. I'm proud of got my new name for me, Jessica, and ours for our last couple of years. We're now officially part of Generation Goonies, is what they're calling us. So for the 4 years, 3 or 4 years, we're a subset of X, but we're Generation Goonies, and we're proud of that name.
Generation Goonies. So they're calling me Generation Goonies. I'm on the cusp of Generation Goonies.
Are you?
Yes, because Generation Goonie starts in 70 and ends in 85.
Oh, I thought it was like 74 to 78 or 79. So I thought it was a pretty tight.
Where Generation X is from 1965 to 1980.
Okay.
And I don't know.
Wow, X goes. I didn't realize X went back to the 60s.
65. Yep, 65
Yeah. Wow.
to 1980.
Wow.
Because I always pick on my sister. She's 64. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I said, you're a baby boomer. You're old.
Yeah.
You're a baby boomer. He's like, fuck you. But yeah, it's 1965 to 1990. So me, or 1980. So me being in 1970, it's that 70 to 75 is the sweet spot of Generation X. So I don't know what the hell they're trying to do. This subgroup of Generation Goonies. I don't know. Maybe someone just is.
Every generation has a subgroup now, like except the boomers. Boomers are just boomers. Everything has a subgroup now. So nobody wants nobody,
they don't want to be associated with Generation X or Generation Y or
millennials,
yeah,
Gen Alpha, whatever. It's all
why why some Gen X and millennials may be Generation Goonies.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I'm just an old grumpy old man.
That's it. Just waving my fist.
Rocky 65. You made it right over that line, man. If your parents would have waited, would have been a few months earlier, possibly you would have been a baby boomer. But you just made the cut. You just made it right under the radar, under the line of being a Generation X. You're the starting line.
When's the new generation start? Because we're in Gen Alpha now, right?
I don't know. Here, let me get
because it's not actually anything official. Like the census, like the government doesn't recognize any of this. So I don't know who what organization makes this up.
We're in Generation Alpha, and that's when
will Alpha run until?
I don't know. Hold on, let me figure this out. I don't know. Hold on. Generation Beta from 2025 to 2039. That's what I'm reading here.
What did you say? 2025?
Yep, to 2039.
Oh, so we're already in I didn't know we were in a new generation. Generation Beta.
That's Generation Beta. Yep.
Okay, and what is Charlie going to be next? Who's
probably he's going to keep it real. Alpha, Beta, Gamma. He'll start doing the Greek alphabet.
Alpha, Beta, Gamma. Okay, Generation Gamma.
Yeah.
So yeah, that sounds better than Generation Charlie. So,
yeah. Terrible. Yeah, millennials are 81 to 96. Generation Z is 97 to 2012, and then you got Generation Alpha is 2013 to present.
Okay. So I like Alpha, the new generation, because some of these the teens are going retro. They're bringing back stuff from the 60s and the 70s and some fashion, some slang, and they're really, I don't know, it's kind of cool to see them bring back some of that stuff. And I know Gen Alpha is they're really focused on quality. They say, Gen Alpha has no problem spending extra money on quality merchandise. They're the most pickiest of shoppers because they want the best. And even if they have to save for it, they won't just buy because they want something. They'll actually save and buy whatever it is, be it bourbon, whiskey, food, clothing, products. They want the absolute best. So, which is good, getting out of the throwaway society.
Yeah, I mean it's God Almighty, you got to figure when you take a look at it, they're like smack dab, like being influenced by COVID too. I mean,
yeah,
I mean, that's a pretty Generation Alpha isn't old enough to live on their own yet.
Yeah, and they're not gonna be. You know, it's man, it
generation parents.
You know, when I was growing up, probably I don't know, maybe same with you. Maybe we didn't know any 30-year-old. I mean, we did. There was always that one weird guy that was 30 that lived at home with their parents still. It's like, what the hell's wrong with that guy? He went to jail for a little bit, and now he's living at home with his parents. But like now it's just like they all do. Like everybody came home, and now it's like,
yeah, but they're not the degenerate like freaking Matthew McConaughey and what movie was that? Dazed and Confused.
Yeah.
All right. That's why I like high school girls. I keep getting older; they stay the same age.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not the degenerate like you said. It's just like these are just like regular people, and parents are still paying for their insurance and cell phones and everything else, and it's just what the fuck. I know. I don't know. It's they say they'll never be able to own a home. I know prices are high. I don't know where Gen Alpha is gonna end up.
That's why they're all pushing for a socialist state. That's why.
Yeah,
they want socialism. But I remember when I was in high school. There's one guy, Cliff. He had a gold Escort, and it was like, we're all like freaking. I know, right? We're like freaking 16, 17, 18 years old. And Cliff's probably his early 30s, late 20s, early 30s. Looks a little older than he is because he's pretty rough. He lived in the freaking townhome like 3 doors down from my buddy. There's always like Cliff always got the beer. You drove around, hung out. Cliff would hang out with you. You're just like, what the hell's? And then when I look back on it now, I'm like, what was Cliff getting out of this? Maybe he's hoping that he'd bring around some high school girls. I mean, was Cliff just kind of like a reject from his other friends and just like
he was the guy that
provide absolutely anything to this guy, but I don't know.
But he's the guy, not the reject maybe, but he's the guy that wasn't popular in high school, always wanted to be, but now that he's out of high school and he can be popular amongst the high school kids because he's older and he can buy beer, and everybody knows Cliff, and it's Cliff's a big man in that town, and
Cliff looked like a Timu Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a nice guy and all. I'll bust his balls, but I mean, he's a nice guy and all. I mean, he got a spear and he hung out and he was kind of laid back. He never did anything fucking creepy or weird, but he just looked like a Chuck Norris, Timu Chuck Norris, he had the Chuck Norris mustache, the blonde, dirty blonde, like hair was really greasy. But yeah, that was our 30 something. But of course, when I was like 18 or 19, I probably looked like I was in my 30s. I mean, you see my pictures. I sent them to you.
Oh, yeah.
From like age 19 until 37, I looked 30. That whole span.
It was all that healthy food you were eating. I was fed crap because I was a latchkey kid. And when I was 20 years old, I looked like I was 14. So it's my generation looked young. We didn't have you look back at my high school yearbook and like in your high school yearbook, they we were all the same age, and you guys and gals look like our parents, from my high school yearbook.
You look at some of my pictures and they're like, hey,
how'd that teacher get in the student section?
Exactly. It's like, hey, that's the teacher next to me. Oh, you're not the teacher there? No.
Yeah. Yeah, my high school year, my junior year, it's like we were all children, So, but yeah, it's it's funny. My
beer out of our parents' refrigerators at like 13 or 14.
Yeah, my daughter's boyfriend, he was doing some work. He does works for a company called Sleuth, and they do underground leak detection for pipes, like in slabs and stuff. And I was talking to him a couple weeks ago, and he's like, hey, who's your high school principal? And I'm like, I don't know who my high school principal was, but I know my the vice principal, Candace Millington, and he's like, oh, I was at her house up there in Sarasota, and doing some work, and she was hitting on me, and I'm like, oh, fucking Candace. I'm like, what is she like? She's gotta be like 65 years old now. He's like, yeah, probably. And but yeah, it's funny that I haven't heard that name in 25 years, and you just it takes you back like real quick.
Oh yeah. I remember the first real sobering event was we go into bars since we were 18, 19. I think I was back home from school when I was 20, 19 or 20. We went into a bar, and it was like we saw our music teacher in the bar.
Yeah.
And it's like that moment where you're like, hey, and they're like, you're used to seeing them in a school setting.
Oh yeah.
Just like being very serious about what they're doing, and then you see them out, and it's like, fuck, okay, that was a little weird, and then you catch a couple of teachers out here and there when you're hanging out, and it's just like,
you see them at the grocery store, and you're like, what are you doing here? Well, I'm shopping, asshole. I gotta shop for grogroceries too.
It's different when you're at a bar and you're half in the bag, and they're like,
you're
like, are you hitting on me? Like you used to teach me when I was 14, like that's kind of creepy, isn't it?
So this was Candace Millington, when she was vice principal. She was a biker chick. So like one of those, like there, like we'd seen photos of her like in these biker rallies, half naked. It's like, that's our vice principal. Get the fuck out of here, So
there you go.
But yeah, it's just the and you didn't have all the hot teachers like they do now. Like none of them, it's like that meme, like the high school gym teacher now, smoking hot 20-year-old blonde. My high school gym teacher was a John Rambo, but it was a female. That was my high school gym teacher.
Yeah, it was. I went to Catholic school, so my grade school experience were all nuns. So actually, when I went to St. Mary's, we had some lay teachers, and there was a couple of two lay teachers were cute. I remember that being in 8th grade, recognizing the cuteness of one of the 3rd grade teachers, I think, because it was like everybody always made an excuse to go down to 3rd grade. It was like, hey, you need some help, or does this need to be carried to 3rd grade? Okay, let's go. So you want to go down there and check her out because she was cute. And then we got into high school. We had a mixture of some nuns and some lay teachers. But even back then, it was like, like you said, it's nothing like it is today. It's like, this teacher got arrested for, having an inappropriate relationship with her sophomore 16-year-old high school student. And then they show the picture, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
What the hell?
She could have had any of the dads that she wanted, but
oh my God.
Then these teachers, think that they're going to have a relationship with a 16-year-old boy, and he's not going to tell everyone he knows. Not saying, oh, she's doing this to me, bragging about it. Oh yeah, I'm banging her. No way. I got photos. Look, get the fuck out of here. We're so jealous. It's yeah, like
27 years of age as a woman, and you don't understand over your course of experience with men what a 16-year-old boy is going to do and say when he starts you start a relationship with him or whatever it is. Like you said, it's like, especially now on social, I mean freaking back in the 70s and the 80s, there were rumors and there were relationships with teachers and students, but you didn't have proof. It was always everything was, spoken above, below a whisper, or yeah, we know that they're doing this or they're doing that. Now it's like freaking everything's just so
all Snapchat messages, and these teachers don't think that these kids aren't screenshotting them Snapchats.
It's all immediate too. It's all immediate. What's up, Bonesy?
What's going on?
Yeah. Hey, before we go on with the second half of the show, we should probably talk about Fogbox.
Yeah, let's talk about Fogbox before we make fun of the Seminoles.
Let's be real. Most travel cigar cases look the same. Black, boring, forgettable. But Fogbox, they're doing it different. Every Fogbox travel case and lighter features custom Hydro Dip graphics from bold patterns to badass designs that pop. These aren't just tools, they're statements. Whether you're at a lounge, a campsite, or on the beach, Fogbox gear stands out while keeping your cigars protected and fresh. Plus, the quality is rock solid. Airtight, rugged, and built to handle wherever you take it. If you're still carrying around the same black plain cigar case everyone else has, it's time for an upgrade. Visit fogbox.com and grab something as unique as your cigar taste. That's fogbox.com. Built to travel, designed to stand out.
Yeah, I'm going to meet up with those guys this weekend. They're coming in, they're flying into town, and they're going to be at the Ybor City Cigar Heritage Festival.
Who's that? The Fogbox?
Fogbox guys. So, yeah, supposed to meet up with them Friday, getting my tattoo done, so I can't meet up with them Friday. So, maybe Saturday night, but if not, I'll see them up at the festival. I'm assuming they got a booth up there, so I may hang out with them and maybe try and sling some of their swag for them.
No, nice guys.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Never met him. Only talked to one of the guys. On the social. I don't even know his name. So, but he seems like a super cool guy.
So, from your conversations, you can tell he was a nice guy.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty cool guy. Just seems like a couple of guys that started a cool company. So it's nice to see that. You know, I want to get a little more info on them. Maybe I'll talk to them if they're sound like they can hold a conversation. Maybe we'll get them on the show and find out how they got into this. And you know, I don't know if they're all made here or I'm assuming they're buying the everything from overseas, but I don't know if it's being hydro dipped here or not. So be cool. And if you're speaking of that, if you're looking for some great Christmas gifts, Theo Vaughn did a show with Mike Rowe, and they were highlighting American made products. It's like a little hour and a half podcast on Theo's channel, and I'm almost through it. So it's pretty cool to highlight American companies doing, you know, just these little small mom and pop outfits.
Yeah, I'm curious to your point on if one of those guys are got into hydro dipping, or if it's just something other than that. You know what I'm saying?
I'd hydro dip everything if I could. You know, hydro dipping is so cool. And there's some companies around here that do it, but definitely a cool process.
So you would never try and do that?
No, the tanks are too big. You know, you need, obviously you need a tank of water larger than, whatever you're dipping into that tank. And then you're spraying clear coat. So it's not something you could do it out of your garage, but it's not a super easy, thing to get into. It's gotten easier over the years, but scaling it down hasn't been very effective. So I'll stick to my 3D printing, so
how's the 3D printing been going, Kev?
It was we got it in our two new 3D printers, so I got 4 of them set up in the office. I brought the 5th one out here, is my oldest machine, and I set it up out here in the lounge because I took some pictures of it, and I was going to put it on Facebook Marketplace because I really didn't need a 5th one. And then we just got a big order today. That's going to take about 45 days to print this order. And I've got another order we're just finishing up 2 more days of a large order. We've been printing for 60 days. And as soon as that's done, we got another order. It's going to take about 40 days. So I'm like, now I told Jessica, I'm like, I got to bring it back in the office. I need that, that 5th, because I'll have these 4 printers going for these 2 big next projects. And then I need one for myself. Just printing random shit. Because I said it was my latest project is my toolbox at work. I got the new Harbor Freight Icon giant box, and it's got like a back panel that's got all these notches in it, and you could put in shelves and stuff, but nobody sells shelves, so not even Harbor Freight. So you buy it, and it comes with like a couple of shelves, and then that's it. You can't even buy extra. Really? Nobody has them. There's one guy on eBay making some out of his metal shop. They're out of metal, but that's it. Nobody makes anything for him. So I'm like, oh, so I got with my design guy over the last week, and we've been designing some shelves for him. And I've already got like a couple dozen guys, you know, in a Harbor Freight group that want shelves, you know, because I'm like, I'll be the only one selling them. So, yeah, it's just finding those little niches, you know. People are always, you know, always trying to, they hop on the bandwagon of selling the same thing, you know, in the 3D print world. Like this little flexible dragon or toy is really popular. Everybody sells them. Like you go to Etsy when something new comes out, and it's a race bottom on who can sell it the cheapest. You know, like one guy will come out with something, he'll sell it, you know, for like $20, making good money on it, and then someone will like, oh my God, that's a great idea. I'm going to copy that design, and then I'm going to sell it for 18, and then it's 15, and then 12, 10, 9, 8, and then you get to the point where guys and gals are happy making $1 on something, making $2 on something. And the only guy that makes money is the original guy that got in, sold it. He got smart when he started seeing copies, and then he just made something else.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the only thing, you know, so this will be like the second thing. I make these little perfume holders. I'm the only person online that makes them. Nobody makes and sells them except me. So eventually,
perfume holders.
Yeah, they're a little sample. When I subscribe to a company called Scentbird, SCENT, Scentbird. Because a lot of these colognes, you know, they're $400, $500, $600 a bottle. Like I can't afford this stuff. So for like $17 a month, $16 a month, I get they send me like a little 3-ounce sample, you know, of these colognes. And my favorite is Versace Eros, which is a fantastic fragrance, but I still can't afford a full bottle. But they have like these little sprayers, and like you just spray them, and you can buy like the holders that it goes into, so it's nice and it looks nice. But they sell them for like $20 on the Scentbird website. And they're like, nobody ever buys them. So I'm like, I can 3D print them, and I sell them for like $10 with free shipping, and I sell the shit out of them. So
it's fake. You don't buy the fake smell.
So I buy. So when I was at the big, huge, fancy mall a couple weeks ago, there's a company called ALT. They sell knockoffs of every fragrance out there under the sun. So instead of spending $400 on Versace Eros, I was walking by, and I'm like, oh, I've seen you guys online. Do you have Versace Eros? And he goes, yeah, we do. And it's like $40 a bottle. Is it as good as the original? No, it doesn't last as long. You know, it doesn't project as well, but it smells really close. Like it's hard to, but yeah, no, that's the only bottle of knockoff that I've ever bought.
Yeah, I'm not a big cologne guy. I never was. I
wasn't until Steve Saka got me into like colognes, you know, just because he always smells really good. And then but I like, you know, complain like I just can't afford some of these colognes because, you know, I just can't afford to buy like $300 a bottle and not like it. And then he's got me like, hey, they make what's called splits or samples. I'm like, oh, hey, that's a pretty good idea. Yeah, Etsy's ruining the maker market. Yeah, Etsy used to be a cool place, but now Etsy's just trash. It's just you know, because now you can sell everything on Etsy, like new, used. Doesn't make any difference. It used to be for the individual makers, you know, like handmade products, and that's what Etsy used to be about. But now it's just like another Amazon, whatever crap you want to buy.
Huh. Yeah, I thought you were kind of like the Michael Scott smell-alike, you know, night sweat. Smells like smells like your car.
Yeah.
That's a perfect smell-alike.
Yeah, Jakar's making a little bit of a comeback. People are digging on that scent again.
I always liked your car. That and Polo always kind of is a pretty good masculine, nice scent.
Polo's still a popular scent. You still see a lot of people. If you want to dive into TikTok or YouTube Shorts on the cologne Oh my God. I mean, these people start talking and it's like, you think Charlie Minata from Half Wheel gets some fragrances and some descriptions on cigars?
Oh yeah,
Listen,
I'm sure.
listen to these guys talk about cologne.
Yeah,
It's
I don't know.
just, yeah.
I had Drakkar, I had Polo, and my favorite was Davidoff's Cool Water.
Yeah.
That
I
was
never
it.
heard of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wore Playboy for a while. Playboy had a line of clones that I liked when I was younger. My parents bought me a bottle of cologne years ago, maybe like 8 years ago or so. And Gabby started, she found the clone. She liked it. Next thing I know, like 2 weeks later, the whole bottle was empty. And I'm like, it's my Christmas gift. And it was like $400 a bottle. And you wore it in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever
What?
it was. Yeah. Like all of it gone.
What?
Gone. Yeah.
Paco Rabanne was the other one. That was the one that we had. Paco Rabanne.
I never heard of that one. Armani Code. I haven't heard of that one either. I know not Code. I know Armani makes some good fragrances. But there used to be a cigar reviewer. Firefighter. I can't remember his name offhand. And he started off doing some cologne videos. And I'm like, I'll never get into that. I don't get the gist and the lingo. Jessica has a really good nose for cologne. I got my newest. I don't think I have the card over here anymore. I got the newest one the other day, and I put a little bit on my arm, and I'm like, "Hey, what do you think of that one?" She's like, "Ooh, I like that." She goes, "It's got a nice citrusy smell." I'm like, "I don't smell any citrus." And then I get the card out. The very first smelling note, blood orange. I'm like, "God damn, you are fucking good."
That's great. That reminds me of I had to look it up because I remember, I had a buddy of mine in college who's a big cologne guy. So back in the late 80s and 90s, Obsession for Men,
Yeah.
Dior Fahrenheit. I got a bottle of this stuff. It was very, very citrusy, very floral. It was pretty pungent, but good stuff. Davidoff Cool Water. There it is. That was actually I'm big fan of that. And then there was Aquea di Gio Porhomel, whatever. I don't know what that is. I never heard of that stuff. And then I can't believe there's Jean Paul Gaultier Lamel. I never even heard of that stuff.
Aqua di Gio.
Aqua di Gio. My brother used to have a bottle of Jovan Musk for Men, and it literally smelled like a freaking bear's ball sack.
You know what's become super popular the last couple of years with Gen Alpha is
Old Spice.
what is Old Spice? Gen Alpha has embraced Old Spice and they are loving it.
I remember my dad had a cologne bottle in his bedroom, and it was filled with Old Spice, but it was the glass 1920s car that you pulled the freaking trunk off the back and unscrewed the cap. And
I have some of those from Avon.
Yeah,
the empties. Yeah.
My dad had one of those. He had two of them on his dresser. And then I mean, if those two filled with Old Spice wasn't enough, he had an additional bottle of Old Spice on top as well.
Now, Timmy, Creed, I haven't tried Creed yet. That's hands down, that's one of the top colognes for men on the market today. Creed Creed by Aventus, I think is what it is. And I need to find a split of that. And everybody talks about Creed.
Really?
But yeah, the Old Spice, you put it, slap your hands together and just rub it all.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. And, I remember that. Till this day I can see the bottle with this big wooden freaking cap was Jovan Musk for Men. It was my brother's, and it was
when Jess
horrible shit
ran the Goodwills, she had got me some bottles of the old Avon, the empty bottle. I think it was a car and
Yeah.
I forget what else there with there, and there people collect them, but it's they're worthless, but they're still cool.
Yeah. Like I said,
Ooh, Tom Ford, yeah.
it would remind me of my dad, because that's what, that was, what he had. But yeah, they were pretty cool, but yeah, there's, not really worth anything, but, God almighty, I swear to God to this day, he had the two brown ones on his freaking dresser, and it reeked of freaking Old Spice.
Oh yeah, and then the oud variant is awesome. So I was watching a video of and it was in Dubai, and it was I don't know who it was, like the person, but they were talking about like Middle Eastern men, like the fragrant, like the whole routine they go through. So they actually, and he was going through the routine of how a Dubai man gets ready in the morning, and they actually have like this. It almost like this incense, but it's and they light it up, and then they stand over it and it goes up under their I forget what the it's not a burqa, but what the thing is called that they wear, and then you stand under that until the smoke starts coming out of like the top, so that's like your base of your scent, and then then they spray the different things on, and it's just like, I want to smell this man now. It's this whole routine of 10 or 15 minutes getting your scent ready in the morning. It's like, God. So
It sounds like Joe's routine.
yeah, yeah, oh yeah, I'm sure Joe has
Watching that primping.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Hey, speaking of Joe, I wanted to play a video that Jen made with the,
oh yeah, you got that keyed up, yeah.
Yeah, for Ashes to Africa is coming close to an end. So I'm telling you, we're go to vsrcigarfam.com. There's some donation options. You get some tickets. We have a lot of giveaways, and I'm going to show you a quick video. It's about a minute and a half of what's out there, and a little bit about Joe's story as well.
In a world where second chances are rare, one young man is racing towards the purpose he fought to survive. At 6 years old, Joseph faced leukemia, and he beat it, not by luck, but by faith, grit, and the kind of fire that refuses to die. Now that fire is pulling him across the world to Tanzania, to study, to serve, and to begin the mission placed on his life, bringing faith, hope into prisons and rebuilding the forgotten. To get him there, the community has stepped up with incredible appreciation gifts, pieces of legacy crafted and donated by people who believe in something bigger. Every donation enters you into these giveaways, but here's the update. Everyone who has already donated, you get an extra ticket. And every donor from this moment forward gets a bonus ticket, because generosity deserves power, and time is running out. This is the moment where the story shifts, where the world decides whether the mission rises or falls short. Be the difference, be the push, be the reason Joseph gets to Tanzania. Donate now at vsrcigarfam.com. Share it, spread it, answer the call. Ashes to Africa. Purpose begins with you.
I feel like the only change I would have made on that video is I would have had the music a little softer, and I would have had Morgan Freeman narrating that video.
And I would have probably positioned the picture of talking about Joseph getting a second chance, and then Lars Teton's face shows up on the screen. Lars stepped in and gave Joe his.
I know, and
that was a great video.
The faith was the half-naked woman, on the other box.
Great job, Jen. All kidding aside, that was a great video, and it's amazing. It's sometimes it depends on my mood, but especially now a little bit more emotional. But it's tough to see Joseph back then. When I see him
Yeah.
now, and you see the picture of him at the end with the Bible verse from Joshua, it's tough to see how weak and how small and how frail he was back then. Because I remember those days, and there were some really really tough days. And to see him now, I guess that's really what I focus more on is the man he's grown into, his opportunities that he's been given, the blessings that have been bestowed upon him and our family. But still, man, it's tough to see him back then when he was just that bald little skinny, frail little kid. But he's come a long way.
Yeah,
So
I don't, I don't know how, because I used to see, I still see pictures that Jessica will show of Wyatt, at Joe's age, when he was going through that, I mean, Wyatt's had like 32 surgeries or whatever in his life, open heart surgery and everything else. And as parents, I mean, I don't know how you did it. I'm not saying that I couldn't do it, but I couldn't even imagine being put into that situation. I don't know how Jessica did it. I don't know how you did it, how Jennifer did it. I guess,
Well, Jennifer was there. Like when I met Jennifer and Joseph, he was about 6 months into his treatment of
Yeah.
a 3.5 year treatment. So those, even when I met, he was very frail and so on. But those first couple of months with being diagnosed and it's no joke when it's not an exaggeration. It's not fucking any bullshit you hear. Like he was constantly sick, and the pediatrician kept saying, "Oh, we'll try one more antibiotic." So Jennifer used to work at Children's up in Boston. She knew something was up, and she demanded that he get tested and scanned. And when it came back, no shit, they said, "You're lucky you brought him in when you did because he was at the point of no return with his leukemia." So she saved
You
his life. And
yeah,
and even then it was still like this ridiculously long road where he couldn't walk. He that's how weak he was, how emaciated he was, how skinny he was. Putting in a port, I mean, the whole 9 yards. I mean, it was. And when I
it,
met him, like I said, when I met him, he was bald, he was white, he was only like 35 pounds, 35 pounds. He's very skinny, very fragile, um, and just to see how how much he's grown and the opportunities. We went from going through treatment to ending treatment, and then once ending treatment, you're like, oh hey, you crossed the finish line. No, you just started the second leg because now you got visits for the next several years, and you're always holding your breath because you think the cancer is going to come back. And then once you cross that finish line, there's still another leg of it because you're always susceptible for secondary cancer. So it's this ongoing concern. I think it gets watered down a bit because as he grows older and grows stronger, he puts himself in a better position, and he's very healthy and takes care of himself. But it's ongoing. It just doesn't stop once your fucking treatment stops. So one of the things that with Joseph, with him wanting to study, doing he's studying international business, is he's had the opportunity to go to Tanzania, to go to Africa, and this is we had a lot of you saw all the different cigar brands, and even the Red Meat Lovers Club, with the other items that they contributed. We have some local groups, some folks here, Potts Barbecue, all the donations and the generosity. There's a lot of great prizes, man. There's a lot of great prizes. If you're someone who's like, hey, I'm going to go on a cigar bids and I'm going to freaking try and bid for a fucking 5-pack or a 12-pack for $20, $50, whatever. Freaking, you donate some money, you get a ticket. There's a good opportunity you're going to win something. Good chance you're going to win something big.
yeah, I don't know how kids go through it, and I know I've said before, I said, for a decade, I volunteered with the American Cancer Society. It's one of the reasons why Amber wanted to be a nurse and work with kids. And, we see the adults and adults grumble and they complain, because it does interfere with their life, cancer, it's like, oh, I got to work and I got cancer, I got chemo. And they're just never happy. But which they shouldn't be. They got cancer. I'm not saying that, but kids, man, you know, I never once heard one of these kids complain. You know, it's they were always kids just have, you know, have that
You're
in
aware of
them.
your own mortality, I think, when you get older too. It's,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
it is. You know, it's like, you know, it's like, you know, like with Wyatt, you know, for, you know, when Jessica said that, you know, he had a hole in his heart forever, and he was always like gurgling when he breathed, and come to find out, you know, and like whatever, blood leaking into his lungs or something. And it's just like, you know, you don't complain, and it's I don't know. Kids just they're just tough, and we saw so many kids with cancer and at these events, and your heart just goes out to them. It's like they're kids. They you know, they should be worrying about, you know, so many other bullshit things that kids, you know, don't need to be worrying about, but they do anyways, you know, and not, you know, not having to go through that.
Yeah, I remember when Joseph was the boy of he was the LLS boy of the year for 2 years, and the girl that was girl of the year was Lily, and and you know, you do a lot of events, you know, with the you know, with these with the other folks and his family. We got a chance to know Lily's mother and siblings and Lily, and Lily would hung out with us and spent the day with us up at the Denver Downs and went to the haunted houses, and you know, just, you know, had a great play day, and you know, she battled hard, man. It was, as soon as she would freaking overcome one cancer, another one would come back, and another one would come, and she eventually passed away. And it's, you know, it's tough. It really hits home, you know, when you are a parent of a child who has leukemia and you see another child that, you know, you're working alongside of pass away. You know, it's, you know, I get, I I don't I don't agree with, but I get and understand, like, when you tell me, you know, when it comes to your faith, like, you know, what kind of a God would do that to a child, would do that to a family. You know, a parent should never bury their children. Um, but it's, you know, there's something, I think, deeper in it for us, but it's really hard to see that kind of stuff and to just see the constant positivity coming out of that individual. As Joe would always tell us, you know, um, cancer was a blessing and a curse. You know,
Yeah.
you know, obviously the curse is kind of self-evident because it's cancer, but the blessing from it is how he grew in his faith and really leaned into his relationship with, you know, his savior, and his ability to really um, you know, focus more on that and understand his journey. Um, Definitely, you know, wise beyond his years. And then he does something stupid like a 20-year-old, and you're like, okay, so he is a normal 20-year-old. He just said something.
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
stupid.
I that's what I was gonna. I
Okay.
was gonna say that, and then he does. Then he does something stupid, like, you know, like drinking when he's not supposed to,
Or
or
smashes up the car and comes home and goes, I don't know how that happened. Joe,
yeah,
you
yeah. I
obviously
don't.
hit
Yeah,
something really fucking hard. You hit the side of the. I remember I told you that the side of he called me. He called me from a advanced auto, and he goes, "Hey, I came into advanced auto for something on his way home from his buddy's house. I think someone hit me in the parking lot. There's a dent on the door. I don't remember seeing it when I went in. I'm like, all right, well, come home. We'll take a look at it. And he came home. I turned to the side, and I was like, fucking, how'd you not notice this, Joe?
yeah.
Like, well, I go, dude, someone didn't open their car door and put a crease in your door. There's a big freaking huge dent and crinkle crease right behind the freaking left wheel, you know, window sill into the door. Well, did you hit something? I don't think I did. I don't remember hitting anything. I didn't feel anything. I said, Joe, the door's out of alignment. Like this is a serious. And then it doesn't take, you know, like freaking Sherlock Holmes to be able to see the scrape marks on the tires leading up to where the freaking big dent is in the door, and then the freaking crease, the black crease that goes to the back door. I'm like, I don't need to freaking draw up or have a 3D imagery of what happened here, Joe, but you definitely hit something because it's on your. I don't remember. I was like, dude, he stuck to that story. He still sticks to it to this day. And then he hit his buddy's mailbox is what we came up with, and I'm like, and I went out to fix the mailbox because there's this plastic mailbox on top of this big steel post that was cemented into the ground, which makes sense. But even then, I'm like, I don't understand how you hit that and just didn't realize you didn't hit something.
Yeah, it was. You say that reminds me of a customer a couple weeks ago. I don't know if I told you that. She came in because she hit something, and she had a loose splash shield underneath of her car, so we had to fix that for her. And then we did an alignment because she knocked her alignment out, and she came back like the next day. I don't know what you guys did, but I got all these scratches on the front of my car that weren't there before you worked on it. And then I'm like, ma'am, you came in because you ran into a ditch, and you screwed up underneath your car. And then she's like telling me the story. She's like, yeah, like the tow truck driver is real nice. He pulled me out of the ditch. And then she keeps going on. I go, ma'am, you just told me the tow truck driver just pulled you out of the ditch. like all of this damage. I go, it was right there. I go, I don't know why I didn't see it before. I go, I don't know either, but I didn't do all this damage, ma'am.
You're describing a crash.
Yeah, you're describing how you crashed your car, and then you're trying to tell me that like I did this, because I did you a favor by putting it up in the air and fixing this for you at no charge, all up underneath. Then we charge her for the alignment, but I did all this other work, and then it was
You remember when I brought my car in that was towed in because I smashed into a freaking ditch? Yeah, for some reason, there's a whole bunch of scratches on this car after you're done working on it.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and then I had a lady in today. Oh, she irritated me. So my manager calls me up. I'm working on a couple cars, but the customers aren't there. They dropped them off for the day. He's like, hey, can you go out there? And there's a Jeep. She needs her spare tire taken down because she's going to get a new spare tire holder for it because hers is like old, whatever. So I go out there, I take it all down for her, put the tire in the back, come back in, and Mike goes, did she tip you? And I go, no, why? And he goes, I told her we weren't going to write her up because just kick you a couple bucks. And I'm like, no, she didn't do anything. I'm like, whatever. So she comes back like an hour later. She took it home, put the spare tire on for her, or the carrier on, then wanted me to put the spare tire back on because she couldn't lift it up because it's a big, stupid Jeep. Mm-hmm. And then she put this thing on wrong, so I had to adjust it. Everything else, spent like another 15 minutes out there getting everything booked. And then she just gets in her Jeep and just drives away. Mike's like, did she tip you that time? I'm like, oh, this bitch. I go, wait till she comes in next time. Wait till she can, because she's a good customer, but, I'm like, I'm throwing that on her bill. And when she asks, I'll be like, oh, hey, remember that spare tire thing I took care of you for? Oh, irritating. We don't expect anything, but when you go above and beyond like that, give the guy a couple bucks. Give the guy $5. So it goes a long way.
Yeah. And I bought the years ago when I was at a jam with my car, and the guys at Firestone hooked me up. But the guy who worked there, his name was Kerry, and they always took good care of me. I think I bought pizza for the shop for one day, just because they went above and beyond and didn't have to, you know what I mean, and didn't whack me pretty hard. For a lot of money. They also freaking took care of my brother-in-law when before they moved down here. They had a flat tire, took good care of him. So those guys were always good to us. And it's moving away from home and living in different places. Some of those creature comforts, I guess you could say, that you don't realize are like having a good handyman, having a good mechanic, a fair mechanic, like just having some of these things that you have from, like, when I lived back home, my dad always had a freaking hookup somewhere.
Always got the hookup. Yeah, I'm that guy. I'm that guy. Between all my friends and my neighbors, I'm the hookup guy.
For the mechanic. Yeah,
I gotcha.
So it was like, you need some freaking cement work. Oh, I got my buddy Troy. Oh, what you need some mechanic? You have some mechanics. You got a mechanic up here. My dad, when he was younger, my dad is a mechanic, so my dad did. He worked on shit. But it was always, well, if you need to get an inspection, we're going to go up the freaking blah blah blahs, and that was, he'd walk in and the inspection was, he'd look at the car and slap a sticker on it, and that was the end of it. But you always had a hookup, a handyman. I need some help around the house, or I need someone to work on the roof. And then when you move away and you move out of town, it's like you can't trust anybody, because especially now, it's like everyone's looking to make a quick buck, and they're fucking gonna BS. Like the guy who came to my freaking front door about, hey, wanting to paint the front porch, and he did such a horrible job of the front porch. And then I'm like, I walk around, I'm like, hey, I can see you missed the spots, like posts. It's not a spot. Yeah, paint's gonna do what paint's gonna do. I'm like, well, paint ain't gonna do what paint's gonna do if you don't fucking put paint on the spot. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was telling him. I go, paint's gonna do what paint's gonna do. It's gonna do what's on the brush, and you got to go over the locations. But yeah, it's really tough, because it's like, okay, I go to a garage where I trust the people, but it's not like my dad. You always do that person who was like, if your shit, your car shit to bed at freaking 5 o'clock on a Friday, you knew someone that would freaking look at it Saturday morning.
Yeah, and I've got a couple good handymen that I work with, and that does work for me every now and then, and they do great jobs. And one thing that and I had to train them all at the beginning. I don't care what it costs, especially like when you get a new handyman. Well, it's going to cost about. I'm like, I don't care. Do a great job, and then just send me a bill. I will pay whatever you want. I don't care. I know, if it's too much. I had one handyman, and he way overcharged me for what he did, and I never used him again. It's like,
right.
Not that you ripped me off, and not that your time wasn't worth it, but I knew what it took to do the job, and I didn't want to do it, and you overcharged me, because I told you to, I didn't care. Just give me a bill and I'll pay it. And I think you took advantage of that, and I just never use it again. Then I've got a couple other guys that I use, and most of the time I end up having to pay them more. And I'm like, bro, you've been out here for like 3 hours. I'm not paying you $40. I'm like, here's like $100. Like, you sweated and I didn't have to. Like, stop undercharging, and then I know I was nervous when Amber moved down to the Miami area at a new hospital. She's down there for a couple of years. First time she had to take her car in, I'm like, you gotta go find a Firestone or a Tires Plus, what's near you, and it was a Firestone. So she had to take her car in there for an oil change one day. And then I called, like the store manager. And I'm like, hey, this is who I am. I work for the company. I'm like, are you going to be able to take care of my little girl? And he's like, I got you. Don't ever worry. And I never worried when she took her car into there, because, they were always going to take care of her. They would call me if something needed to be done. They just call me, and it was good.
Yeah, and that's such a relief, especially so with your kids when it comes to cars, or when you do have folks like the guy who painted my porch. When I said, hey, look, man, I said I gotta repaint my lounge area and some other jobs. I said, you do a good job, I paid him, like you said, never going to talk to him again, never going to call him again. I just like, listen, you made your fast money because you did a half-assed job, and you could have had other work. So then I got to question either your intentions. But he said he's doing a handyman work around the neighborhood and blah 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 blah. And he was here, there, and I was like, all right, but you had the opportunity for more business, and you fucked up.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's a good handyman, man, is really, really hard to find. That's why I got to use, like, I have two like really good, and every now and then like a third, because sometimes they don't do everything, or you find what they're really good at, and then you just keep having them come back for that. But yeah, a good handyman, hard to find. These the guys that can do everything. It's not like the way back in the day. So
no,
but
I was always lucky because my dad was a really good handyman.
Yeah.
He was.
I lost that when my buddy Brian, when his dad Dick had passed away. Dick was he was a good fucking handyman. Well, he was an electrician. But
Yep.
you needed a deck built. It was Dick. He got that. You needed electrical work. Got that. It's like different stuff. Yeah, I got that. So yeah.
Yeah, we had some pretty talented. I mean, my uncle, he built his house. My uncle, my mom's, my mom and dad were together. My mom's brother built his house. My dad went out there and did work. My dad was an electrician too. Like he's like, the guy who, he's an electrician. He was a mechanic for years because his father was a mechanic. His father's father was a mechanic. It's like my cousin Vinny. He's around cars his whole life. Then he learned how to become. He was, learned he was an electrician. He worked in radar and electronics in the Air Force. Came out. He's pretty good handyman. He freaking built decks. Freaking, I remember he actually had to have a guy come in and help out, but they cut out a part of the wall and like built a double sliding door in our house when I was younger. But all the other shit, my dad did it.
Yeah,
my dad did it. When I bought my first house in Harrisburg, he came in, helped me with all my wiring. when I remodeled my bathroom, he obviously as he got older, he became less and less involved in that stuff. But I had a '79 Jeep CJ7 when I was in college. Blown engine. He freaking took it down to his buddy's garage. It had a freaking pit and a freaking winch, and he freaking replaced the engine.
Yeah.
So it's the only thing I always get mad at is he let me help out just enough, but not enough to learn a lot. He get away, don't you go do something else. You don't want to learn how to do this. You don't want to have big broken up and busted knuckles when you're my age. But I was like, well, shit, Dad, if you'd have taught me more of this shit, when I was younger. Now everything's electronics, but I learned enough because I helped him freaking rebuild the rear end. I helped him freaking put in axles. I even helped out a little bit when he put in the engine, but it's definitely something where could have been more involved with it.
Oh yeah, my dad was not a car guy. My dad was a construction guy. He's in the construction rental supply business his whole life, so he knew construction. But he was not a car. That's where my buddy Dick came in, and that's taught me everything about cars. Him, and my buddy Brian, always pulling a motor out of something, putting a transmission in something, a rear end. It was like that was back in the day when the neighborhood had like that guy. Like the old guy that would let you hang out and would teach you things. Just about not just about rebuilding, but Dick would teach you how to be a man. How to speak to a woman. But how to be respectful to his wife and other women, and just everything. It really taught you. Like I said, how to be a self-sufficient man. Like, hey, you don't need to do this. You can do this and this, and kids don't, God, they don't have that anymore, and or a lot of kids don't, because cars are really hard to work on. Wiring in houses have, even though it's still essentially the same, it's gotten tougher with all the electronics, and even in the house.
Even trying to build something. I mean, when you gotta, you gotta have a license, the license, this, the license that. You gotta have permits,
permits, and you can't put a fence up. You can't build a deck. You got to have a permit. So you go down to the office. So, well, we need like engineering plans, or like I don't know how to do that. I don't know where to get that from. I know how to put my fence up. Dig a hole, put these posts in with cement, and then put the fence up. I know how to do that. I don't know how to draw on a blueprint or get an engineering plan for any of that crap.
Yeah. No, it's I when I redid my bathroom, my old house, we gutted it. It was like that old plaster and freaking old gray and paint tile. And my buddy, I had a really good friend of mine, Juan Acosta, moved here from Colombia the country, which is in South America, Kevin. So at least we're playing along geography wise.
Yeah.
And he moved here when he was 18. Took advantage of the system. Didn't take advantage of the system. He took advantage of the system.
Yeah.
And got a college degree, got his MBA. Said that, he was going to school while other guys were just hanging out. He's up in New York. Who had the same opportunities he had, but they chose to sit around and drink and fuck off. His words exactly. And then he's a very handy man, another guy who's freaking incredibly handy, very talented. He helped me redo my bathroom. But when it came to my electricity, he's just like, I'm going to tell you something, Carrie. I don't fuck around with electricity. It's yours. I do mine. I go, all right, no problem. So my dad came in and, we ran the wires. And my dad's like, did you get a permit for any of this? I go, no, I'm in the house. They can't see. Well, you really should have a licensed electrician come out and do this stuff. I said, Dad, you're an electrician, but I'm not licensed. I said, do you have a driver's license? He goes, yes. I said, you're a licensed technician. You're a licensed electrician now. I said, just hook up my fucking wires for me, please. Because I want to, I'm not asking you to put in a whole new, circuit breaker. And, I'm just asking you to take these wires that used to go in here and just freaking run them over in here, and we added some more, newer wires because some of the wire in my house was freaking old. You're in an old home when you freaking go upstairs in the attic and you find that the wires have that cloth over top of it.
Yeah,
it's a little old. But yeah, I mean, that was like you said, I mean, realistically, I probably should have had a licensed electrician come in, certified electrician. I should have gotten a permit, even though I was just replacing my bathroom, but you're fiddling with pipes and electricity. And I understand the reasons why. I understand the reason. I understand the genesis of why these permits and requirements were put in place. But
because I don't want my house burning down because my neighbor did shoddy work.
Right. But what happens is it's become so freaking money driven and political and BS that you've created a system that was supposed to help the people and ensure that the work is being done properly. You're now forcing them.
Thank you, Brian. I couldn't. Kerr was talking about that. I couldn't remember the term of that, knob and tube. But yeah, you're forcing people to
forcing people to find a workaround. So it's I told you I helped Juan, put a roof on his. He bought a home, and it was the one part of the home was built in the '60s, and then they built an addition in the '80s. But the original part of the home was a cabin from the 1800s. And it was just kind of attached. So he was going to remodel all that. So he had to jack up the freaking foundation and everything. But we put a roof on that in an afternoon because he's like, we got to hurry up on this. I go, why? He goes, because I have the permit in the window is the permit that I had for my built-in swimming pool in the back. He goes, I don't have a permit for this. He goes, and then sometimes the inspector drives up and down this road. He goes, I want to get this roof up and get the freaking shingles on it so it looks like it's been here the whole time. So I don't have to freaking have anybody stopping by.
Yeah. When we put the new breaker panel in the garage before we built this addition, and we got the addition built, and the electrical inspector was out doing his thing, and he looks at the panel and he goes, "There's not a record of a permit for that panel." And he goes, "Put that in," and I'm like, "Oh, it's always been that way." And he goes, "No, it hasn't." And I go, "The former electrical inspector for the city, when he left, he's the one that put it in." He goes, "He did a damn good job." And he goes, I'm not going to say anything about it, and he's like, but I did have, a retired electrician put the panel in, but because like you said, my neighbor Peanut next door, his panel caught fire. So he had to have his come out. They charged him $4,000 to put a new panel in. And I'm like, you got ripped off, and then I started doing some research. I'm like, no, that's like the going rate. I'm like $4,000 for a panel. I think with the panel, all the breakers, and then I got the whole home breaker or whatever for the lightning strikes or whatever. I think I had like $700 into it. And then the guy charged me like $500 for, half a day's worth of work. And I'm like, but that's why people do that work. Yeah. Because it, when you got to call the power company to come out and turn the power off, to the house, and then everything else. My guy just snipped the little thing from the, on your meter, the little anti-theft thing. And he just snipped that and pulled the whole meter out because it was a Sunday. And he goes, yeah, they're going to get an alert and they're going to come out and ask you on Monday what happened. Just say, I don't know. I don't know what happened. So they'll look around, they'll put a new tag on it. They're not going to say a word. And that's exactly what happened. They got an alert that the power went out, so they looked around like, I don't know what happened. So they put a new little tag on there and nobody was none the wiser.
Fine. Yeah. I had a license when I sold the house. There was some old termite damage in the house and there were some other things. And we had to have a licensed electrician. And like you said, it was my dad's friend who was a retired electrician, but still a licensed electrician. He did some side work and handiwork. He's licensed. I had to have him come out, and he was my dad's friend, so it was like $50 from to come out, do a little bit of work, and then freaking give his assessment. When we sold the house, and it was like, okay, here's the deal. I can get this fixed for you. It's going to cost $1,500, or we'll take $1,500 off the house. Okay, we'll take $1,500 off the price of the house. Okay, great. There you go. You are forewarned. This licensed electrician said this is what needs to be done. It's now up to you to get it fixed. But this is on you now. But he came out for like $50 and freaking did it. He fixed up a few things, but there are some things he's like, look, I can't touch any of this shit. I can give you an estimate on what it's going to cost to get this fixed because you have I think it was the wood. My dad replaced the wood that the breaker was on, the breaker box, because it was all disintegrated. It was disintegrating from the old termite damage. So that had to be all replaced.
Yeah, it's nuts. Now, when I was building the lounge here, the electricians put an outlet in the not in the wrong spot. It was what was on the plans, but I needed it moved. Before they were all done, and then I realized, oh crap, I need that moved to a different spot. I called an electrician. It had to come out. And they looked, and he's like, why didn't you just move it? You could have just cut the wire and just because nothing had. It just. I'm like, listen, I'm not doing that. Like, I don't know anything about electricity. I don't know. I could just unmount the box from here, move it up here, move the wires around. I go, I'm not doing that. This is a very expensive lounge that I'm building. And I would just rather pay you. They charge me like $125. They're here for 10 minutes. And I'm like, I feel good.
That's to $125 you spent in 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's it. I'm like, don't care. I just want it. I just want it done right. We use a really good local mom and papa electrician. We had one of our outlets melt one night, and it was like 6 o'clock at night, and I called up. I'm like, hey, you got anything for like tomorrow? One of our outlets melted, and we need to have someone come out and take a look at it. And I go, seems to be fine now. I pulled the switch out, like disconnected the wires. I wire nutted them, just and then the wife's like, no, we're going to come out right now. I'm like, no, it's safe. She's like, I don't know it's safe. She's like, I'm not going to go to sleep at night knowing that your family, like this could be safe. Like, we don't charge after hour rates. Going to send my husband out right now, and he came out within an hour, looked at me, he's like, no, but someone had something cheap plugged into it.
Yeah.
Like one of the cheap, gas station phone chargers.
Yeah.
He's like, stop using these. He goes, these burn down houses. So he goes, just spend the extra money. And it was one of Jessica's, Amazon things. And, but yeah, so, that was really good. We've used them many times since, and, and it was, it's good just to have it done the right way.
No, it is. And that's the one thing is, like a water, electricity, some things are just unforgiving. You don't get a second chance with it. You don't want to fuck around with electricity. You don't watch, especially when you have children around water, it's like, you don't have unattended kids around water. Parking lots, parking lots are deadly. They are very unforgiving. You don't get a second chance with that. So I've always kind of, especially being around my dad, and his methods were a little bit, okay, I'm going to go up here on the ladder. Here's a 2x4. if I start shaking and a light start flashing, just hit me with the 2x4. Do not touch me. Do not push me. Just hit me with this 2x4. And I was like, oh boy, old man, you look like you're shaking. Whack you with this 2x4. But they taught you to be respectful. And a healthy fear, if you will, of electricity.
Yeah, I definitely have a healthy fear of electricity.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
I get freaked out whenever I'm like we bought. Jennifer wanted this light that looked like a molecule, and she got this.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
the fucking molecule light. Remember that?
Yeah.
It shows up and like the freaking wires are like pink and brown and freaking blue, and I'm like, and I'm looking through it, and it was like all wiring color codes of the EU the European. I'm like, what? And then there's extra wires. I was like, I'll sell this thing yard sale. I didn't even try and attempt to put this thing up there because of how buggered up it was. But even doing something like a simple light out switch where it's a red to red, black to black, like real basic, simple shit. I even get a little freaked out about that. I'm not.
Yeah, I just had to put a new switch in our bathroom, and luckily it was all it was still white to white, black to black, and it was pretty. But even then, like it was the exact same thing. I was just wiring in a new switch because it just went bad.
Because you never know, man. I mean, I remember my first attempt was my first house was our electronic doorbell. It died.
Yep.
So we bought this doorbell. I was like, oh, okay. I bought it at Home Depot. I'm like, pretty simple. Like you said, white, white, black, black, ground. Took out the old one, put in the new one. All right. Rang the doorbell. Ding. Smoke started coming out of it. My dad came over. He's just like, the guy who freaking owned the house, again, I don't know my freaking electrician terms, but apparently the amount of current that should have been going into this doorbell, because it was designed for a doorbell, should have been far less, but this guy rigged a line coming in where there was more power coming into this doorbell, which just completely fried the one that I bought. So when you rang the doorbell, he's like, you're lucky you didn't get electrocuted. You're lucky you didn't freaking burn the place down, because it was like this big surge just freaking fried this doorbell. So, he went through and had to rewire everything, properly. So, or we go to put in a switch, and it's like, my dad's like, this guy just has things taped off in here. This used to be it's a 3-way switch. He rigged it to be a 1-way switch. It's like, this is a fire. Like, I always tell folks, like, whenever someone comes in, they're like, hey, can you help me out with this? Do you know how long it's going to take? I don't know. Yeah, come on. What, like, this shouldn't take long, like 30 minutes. Every time you have a job that someone says, oh, this shouldn't take very long, it always takes longer, because as soon as you open it up, man, forget about it. Forget about it. It's a shit show. Like I said, a simple freaking changing out of a light switch turned out to be an all-day event because of what the person who owned the house prior did.
Yeah, I get that with cars all the time, and I'll give someone a price. He's like, it's like, why so much? It's only going to take you like 15 minutes. Well, then you do it. If you think it's only going to take 15 minutes, you do it.
Yeah.
Why are you here? Why am I doing it?
15 minutes after freaking 2 hours of ripping everything apart to get to that freaking spot where the job takes 15 minutes, but 2 hours to rip everything apart and 2 hours to put everything back. It's nothing simple anymore.
Yeah, nothing simple at all anymore.
Nope. I told you, I tried to change. I remember I had my CJ7 when the light bulb would go out. There's a bunch of room. You just freaking go to the freaking store. You buy a new light bulb assembly, pop it in there, headlight, boom, boom. I had an Altima 06, even 06, 2026 or 2006 Nissan Altima. Tried to change the light bulb out because it went out.
Yeah,
I looked on YouTube. I actually first downloaded the manual, which was 26 pages long, and then I looked at YouTube, and I'm like, I gotta start taking apart what, like this whole plastic assembly that runs your whole air system. You got to remove all that. And then after remove all that, then you got to remove this freaking casing and this backing, and then You got to get your big fat meatballs into an area where a child's hand could fit. And then you got to have the freaking pressure of Hercules to get this counterpin out of this freaking thing. And I'm like, holy shit. So I remember pulled into one of those, 15-minute oil changes back in the day. And the guy's like, yeah, your front headlight's out. I go, yeah, I know, man. I said, I got a light bulb. And I said, I tried putting it as a bitch. We'll do it for you. I'm like, no, you won't, man. He goes, God, this is what we do. There's like 3 guys around this thing, like cursing and yelling while I'm just sitting there just laughing, going, told you. Like after about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, these guys were so pissed off and were like, we can't do it. I'm like, I tried telling you, man. I was trying to insult you that you guys are 15-minute freaking oil change guys. I'm saying it's you got to start removing some major parts and have the proper tools to get this shit out. Y'all don't have it.
Yeah, I would say about half the cars today, I got to remove the bumper, the whole fascia of the vehicle to get the light bulb out. And there are some, like probably going back a couple months ago, customer brings in a Chevy Traverse and he's like, hey, I need a light bulb done, and you got to take the whole front bumper off. And he goes, I'm just not capable of doing that. And I'm like, yeah, I can do it in like 5 minutes. I don't have to take that bumper off. And he goes, no. He goes, I've watched YouTube videos. And I go, I've owned 4 of these. And I go, and I've done this job 100 times. And I go, I can do this job in 5 minutes. And he's like, if you can do the job in 5 minutes, I'm still going to pay you for the whole time, the 1.1 hours. I'm like, whatever. So he actually came out and watched, and I took like just 2 screws out of the fender well and just pulled it back a little bit and jammed my hand up in there and couldn't see anything. And I'm just like fishing around, and I like, got it. And I pulled it out. Like, how did you do that? You can't even see inside there. I go, you do enough of these,
yeah,
and you figure out the trick. I go, just
you know where it's located.
I just know where it's located. I know what it feels like. So that's all. I go, if I'd never done this before, yeah, I've got to pull the bumper off. And then I just try and remember, next time, if there's a workaround, a lot of times there's not, but sometimes there is, and you just jam your hand up in there, and and then headlights. I had to give a quote for Friday. Customer had a headlight out, and he's I had to give him, and he's like, how much to do it? And I'm looking it up, and I go, about $900. Because for a headlight, he goes, what do you got to do to get it out? And I'm like, oh no, it comes right out. I go, the bulb's $700. And he goes, what? And I go, yeah, the bulb's $700 for the bulb, and I go, and I got to get it right from a Hyundai. And he's like, are you kidding me? And I go, no, I'm not. It's a high intensity discharge HID bulb. And I go, nobody carries these. The bulb itself is like $700 for a headlight bulb. It's it's insane, bro.
What's funny is that light out my Altima when I moved down south, because that was up in Pittsburgh that happened. When I moved down here, I took it to a shop, and I was telling the guy, and I said, yeah, the left front. I said, yeah, my light bulb's out. And then he's doing an oil change. He was changing some sort of seal or something on a car too. At that time, it had over 100,000 miles on it. So I picked it up, and he goes, "Turn your car on." Turn it on. He goes, "Come here." You got the headlight on. Work it. I said, "How'd you change the bulb?" He popped the hood. He goes, "You got a little fuse box inside under your hood here." He goes, "You just had a blown fuse." I go, "Really?" I said, the guys up in Pittsburgh, they're trying to go, they're fucking morons. And I was like, I'm a fucking moron too, because I tried it myself. But yeah, I didn't know. Like, you think of, old cars, all the fuses, it's under the dashboard somewhere, or it's in the side panel by the door. Nope, there's a nice little freaking box under the hood in there. You pop it open, there's some fuses in there. A freaking $2 fuse.
I can't tell you how many times like a car will be running rough and a customer doesn't want to pay for an engine diag. And they're always like, it's probably just a fuse. It's never a fuse. Like, I don't want to say it's never a fuse, but out of 1,000 times, one time it'll be a fuse. I'm telling you, it's not a fuse. It's not. Stop this, old guys. Stop saying it. It's probably just a fuse.
Oh, just a fuse. That's great.
Probably just a fuse. We're gonna leave it there, and it's probably just a fuse. It's
probably
never
just a fuse. Mike, remember that. It's probably just a fuse.
Probably just a fuse. All right, everybody. Man, I can't believe it got 2. I didn't even know what we talked about. Like we're all over the map tonight, and what a great show.
Yeah. It wasn't no politics tonight. So the one guy
No.
who used to come here, Mike.
That's it, Mike. Yeah, we're Mike.
I
He's
think we
probably
scared him away that one day. He
probably just
he
yeah.
was not happy with us after that one conversation. He's like, "Oh, you had a good show until now." It's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
on,
whatever." So we definitely want to thank everybody for coming out, spending a couple hours of your Monday night with us, hanging out with us, chatting, listen to us bullshit about whatever. Ashes to Africa. Check it out on Facebook. The event page. Also vsrcigarfam.com. You can get in on the giveaway for all the great prizes. And we should see you next Monday. Yeah, we should see you next Monday night. Yeah, because I think I'll
hold on for a second here. I wanted to say this. Next Monday night, we have Art Garcia on. The 8th.
Do we? Is that's not next Monday, is it?
The 8th. That's December 8th already.
Oh, wow. It is the the 8th. Art Garcia. So
Art Garcia, December 8th.
Yeah, just gonna be. Yeah, we're just gonna be chit chatting. Not really a cigar centric show. It's gonna be puff and ponder, and
there's gonna be a lot of pondering on that show.
There's gonna be a lot of pondering on that one. So we'll see everybody next Monday night with Art Garcia of I don't think it's Segovia de Esteli anymore. I think it or is that the new name of the company? I can't remember. We'll chat with Art.
I think that is the is the new name is the
is it
DSLE? Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So right on. We'll see everybody next Monday night.
All right, we'll see you guys.